November 4, Quebec, November Tango, N4QNT.
We have our QRMer in there. Poor little child, my QRMer. I missed him so much. Anyway, what is the name there, sir?
Yeah, good afternoon, Jim. The name is ART, Alpha Radio Tango. I'm in North Carolina, not too far from Winston-Salem. We've talked before, and appreciate you giving me an opportunity to play this back later. I'm actually experimenting with a new headset. Picked up Audio-Technica headset with a boom mic built onto it, and just hooked it up to the radio not too long ago, and we get a good chance to try it out now. Go ahead.
Roger. Well, I was copying you on my local antenna at about 12 over, and I moved over to Milford, and you're also doing well in Milford. So why don't you tell me about your antenna system for about 10 seconds or so?
Okay, very good, Jim. Well, this is a multi-band doublet. I'm not a believer in coax, sorry to say. I heard you mention earlier about dipoles and coax, but I have a piece of property that's good for basically one antenna. So, of course, the old ARRL handbook from the 1960s, they always referenced a doublet antenna, which basically is a dipole cut for 75 meter. About 63.5 feet on each leg. It's flat top and then center fed with the homemade ladder line, the 600 ohm spacers, and that's about 115 feet of that comes down right to the back of the tuner, and then basically the tuner is part of the antenna system. So from 6 meter to 75, you just wipe out the swirls and go at it with the legal limit. Over.
Roger that, Art. Sounds like a great antenna. I've heard of them quite often. I have never experienced one personally. I just have used the dipole, and everything that I have, AV'd against the dipole simply has been hands down. Well, not necessarily all the time the best, but 98% the best usually, and ties the rest. And I run two 10-foot vertical magnetic loop antennas, one east and west and one north and south. And there was a period of time where I evaluated the transmit capabilities of my dipole versus my 10-foot vertical mag loops, and probably took me about a week at 600 miles evaluation as to what I was going to do, and invariably the dipole won out in transmit over the 10-foot vertical mag loops, but on receive, it's a different matter. Easily, the 10-foot vertical mag loops are 3 to 4 dB hotter than many times than the dipole itself. And the one I have. One of them I have is a tunable, rotatable, and so that can further sweeten the pot, so to speak. And plus the fact then I also have a co-phase harness on those two 10-foot vertical mag loops, and I can co-phase them, and that also sometimes results in extra 3 dB gain or so. And this is all over the dipole antenna. Roger.
Okay, yeah, I agree 100%, Jim, and it totally makes sense. I've heard, it totally makes sense. I've heard many great stories about the magnetic loop antennas, primarily for diversity receiving, and that's amazing. That technology, the diversity receiving, and basically as phasing control. And when you can control the phasing and null out certain noises and man-made noises and things like that, and pinpoint the direction a signal is coming at you with, and boy, that makes for a whole different mode of operation. That's a great thing. So, yeah, there are many stations now that are adapting to, say, diversity receiver, where the radio can accept that and hook that up to a sub-receiver and then control the phasing. So really good stuff. You can actually just do that with software and just the everyday other dipole out there on, like, say, antenna B. But if you don't have that type of radio and or the software, what you're doing manually with the actual magnetic loop is probably just as good. Over.
Roger. The thing is, the larger the loop versus the frequency, the less true directional characteristics the loop exhibits. And these are, like I say, these are 10-foot diameter mag loops on 40 meters. So they're fairly large for the frequency, and therefore the directionality is not as acute as it might be if they were smaller loops. And that also is why they may co-phase very easily when one is actually pointed east and west and the other is north and south. You wouldn't think that you could get much gain co-phase with a situation like that, but like I say, they are large for the frequency, and that therefore not as directionality prone, and so they do come up nice in co-phase mode. Roger.
Oh, yeah, very good. Oh, that's nice. More the merrier. I mean, having multiple antenna systems or experimenting, and, of course, the magnetic loop and things like that. Excellent. All right, so as far as the tonality here, perhaps, just wondering, this is the SDR, a non-SDR transceiver. The mic is the Audio-Technica, the BPHS1, Bravo, Papa, Hotel, Sierra number 1. And has a little dynamic element right off the boom on the headset. So happy to give this a workout here for once, and get to hear it now later on in the vlog on YouTube, of course. So that'll be a treat to hear the audio profile and a little bit 5.5% compression here, and bandwidth approximately 60 low cut out to about 34 on the high. So filling up the envelope. Go ahead.
Roger, yeah, I'm looking at your audio on a frequency meter, and you're down, probably rolling out about 300 cycles, but it is very nice. You do have a very extensive range of frequencies in there, and it does sound really, really nice, and I think you'll enjoy it. And the windscreen on that boom mic is very nice. Usually, sometimes they're not quite as good as what they could be, but yours, I heard no mouth noises at all, so it really is very transparent. Roger?
Oh, great, Jim. I appreciate that. Yeah, I was wondering about plosives and things like that. So, yeah, the little foam that comes with the mic included, and obviously and hopefully working out great. About 3.5, almost 4 inches away from the mouth here. So works great. I appreciate it. Now we got a good chance to try it. Well, pick up more, keep the show going, I guess, till 5, as you say, and I can't wait to tune in later. I've been there before, so I'll look for the date, of course, and eager to listen when the time is good for you, of course, to get everything uploaded and up to YouTube. So I'll listen out, Jim, pick up more, have a great weekend, and appreciate what you're doing out here. KC9VKV, N4QNT, Art in North Carolina.
Roger, Art, and I was copying you that time, that transmission on my local antenna, and I do run a heavily modified Yaesu 990. It's about a 30-year-old radio, but it's been pretty heavily modified coming and going, so it's fairly flat, and I'm looking at your audio on a spectrum analyzer, and you are down to about 200 cycles. It looks like your roll is right at 200 cycles, and then roll out, but a very, very nice curve, so I think you'll enjoy the recording. 3C you, sir, and you have a great afternoon. This is KC9VKV, the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.